revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary. I am a revolutionary.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
Where there's people, there is power. Justice in our time.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Sean Buchanan at Equal Star. Today I've got an esteemed guest, Mr. Dan Morley, professional boxer. I've been trying to get in touch with him for a while. He's finally graced me with his presence. Today we're going to be asking about how boxing can help people in their day-to-day lives with terms of personal discipline and self-progression, and see the journey that he's made transitioning from being a boxer, going from professionality to the next level, where a lot of people give up in terms of development. Mr. Morley, I'd like to ask you, how do you do it? And what advice can you give for people trying to navigate the system like you?
Nice. Well, thanks for having me on firstly. Sorry it's taken so long. I've been meaning to come on for a while, but how did I do it? I mean, I'm still kind of doing it. I'm still working it out all the time. You know, I've been boxing for 13 years now, so I'm in my mid to late 20s now. And I just persevered with it. I mean, you go through different stages of it. At first, you lack the confidence to really chase it when you first start, and then as you get better, you develop that confidence. And once you got the confidence and you know it's what you want to do deep down, when that adversity is thrown up, you just have to just persevere with it. And if it's not working, take a step back and navigate a different way for it to work. That's my experience from it. I obviously wanted to do it. I've had loads of times where I thought, you know what, maybe it's not even worth it. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I've always kept my foot in the water with it. And yeah, I just took a bit of time out and built it up in a different way. And taking that step back allowed me to come back in the future a lot more stable outside the ring in regards to, you know, the foundations that support his career.
So you think you'll ever get maybe a prize fight with like a Conor Ben?
Well, a fight with Conor Ben?
Yeah.
Man, I would fight anyone. I mean, a fight with Conor Ben would make a lot of money. So yeah, I would love to. Yeah. But no, I mean, you know, Conor Ben's an interesting one because I think we're the same age. And you know, he's obviously had a lot of adversity now, but he's had a lot of good promotion and he's a good fighter. And you know, I've done a few articles for Sky just writing my story. You know, Conor Ben's name wasn't even mentioned.
I've seen it.
Yeah. And then they put you know, that I'm writing a story about how I'm clashing with Conor Ben, and I'm like, what? I didn't even say Conor Ben. So you know, names like that, if you do get a fight, they can push that, you know, and give you the exposure you need.
You see, when you started out, in like your first few fights, you said you had to, obviously, I know with grassroots level fighters, club level fighters, they usually have to sell their own tickets. And how did you transition from that? Because I know some people, they're in perpetuity, always kind of like at Bethnal Green, they're selling tickets. I've seen them do 6, 7, 8 years till they become like journeymen, and they never seem to be able to take their next steps to, like, you know, like say European level, British level, world level, and they always seem to be either some kind of politicking, or they say you're not popular enough because you haven't got the backing. So it's very hard for them to be their own PR agent, train full time, and then maybe to negotiate the fights and packages. So I always wondered how would you do that behind the scene, because obviously you're doing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just and it's a bit of a boring response, but it's just dedication to it. You know, you initially making that transition. I mean, when I was amateur, people knew I boxed. You know, I'd post it on Facebook, my results, but you know, I'd probably have 3 or 4 people come to the fight. My mum, my dad, maybe 5 or 6, my brothers, and you know, maybe if I was lucky, a friend would come. So you know, when I did turn professional, I was aware that you had to sell tickets, but I didn't realize how, you know, severe it was and how important it was. And you know, lots of really talented amateurs actually become journeymen, and they can't sell the tickets to make a career. So they got 100 losses, but they're like, some of them like 4-time national champions, you know. So and others just give the sport up. There's a lot of talented fighters that can't get past that stage. So for me, initially, you know, I think there's a bit of a lure to professional boxing for people that don't really know it. So when you say you're professional, you know, if you know a professional footballer, everyone goes, well, oh, so a professional boxer. You know, people seem to be a little more intrigued, and they'll come and support you. So you know, and once you've got that hook, you just got to try and keep on people, and you just got to try and market yourself. So I think when I turned pro, I think it's a bit more expensive now because you have to pay the journeyman, promoters after some, you got to pay your manager, cutsman. I think you had to sell 70 tickets to cover expenses, which if you're, for me, going from like sort of 7 people coming to a fight to having to sell at least 70 to cover expenses, it was tough. And you know, I've had fights that I've made no money, and I've had to cover expenses out my own pocket. But I'd never struggled too much. I could always sell them. But even with the selling of the tickets, I still wasn't making any money. And ultimately, for me, I had COVID as well. But 5 years in to my career, I just took a step away. I was like, nah, this is actually relentless. Like I've been, COVID didn't help because of the inactivity, but I decided to take a step back, and rather than kind of just scrape along until I got to a sort of English world or British level fight, I was like, nah, just build up the following in a way that's different outside of the ring, and then I can really sell the tickets and come back.
You've got that the coaching, and then that's how I came across you. Obviously, the videos, because you're a serious analyst. You could make a serious. That's a surprise because Sky hired you already. You could be a serious commentator and analyst on boxing, because I've seen people, well, not seen, but I've read on people and watched people that have been like world level, and they don't know the game like you do. Even the strategies in the ring and how to count and things like that. They don't. Well, maybe they don't want to volunteer that openly to people on the street. But yeah, you're like a scientist with it. How do you develop that?
I don't know. I've always, firstly, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I always liked the game, and you know, like I say, I started when I was 14 and I knew nothing about it. My granddad had one fight in the 60s, so that was my only affiliation with boxing. I knew Ricky Hatton, Mike Tyson, David Haye, and Muhammad Ali, and that was really it, because you know I like football. And I went to the gym and I got into it. And after a few years of actually boxing, I'd noticed that if there was a kid struggling, I'd help him out on a technical level. So and then after that, I used to be sort of fascinated by. I boxed at Epsom Mineral Amateur Boxing Club, and there were pictures of Henry Cooper, and there were pictures of Sonny Liston and Mike Tyson, all black and white. And I was fascinated with those pictures. And just over time, I would read books, and I still remember reading Wilfred Benitez winning the title with 17 and being like, "What?" You know, and just and just gradually it built up in my mind. And then my barber, when I turned professional, I was getting my hair cut, and my barber said to me that I should make a social media page, and just about my own boxing. So I did, and it didn't get much traction on TikTok. And then I just started. You know what it was? Like you say, with the world champions and the analysts out there, I'd see like these lists, and I'd see people talking about the greatest boxers ever, and I still even see it now with some of the best fighters in the world, and they'll be like, "Oh man, you know, we've got Shakur Stevenson, we've got Gervonta Davis, Devin Haney." And I think like, well, what about Inoue? What about Bivol? What about what about Anthony Joshua? And I just saw like I saw like I did a list recently where it's like the best American fighters of all time, and it was like Mayweather, Roy Jones, and I was like, yeah, they are, but don't forget Greb and Armstrong, and you know what I mean. So I just thought there's a hole in the market for this, and I'm 27, so I'm of an age where people that are very recency biased can relate to me, and I can hopefully bridge that gap. So I've built it as I've gone on. I just saw a massive gap, and I just thought, you know what? Let me just see it, and it's gone down well putting that information out there.
Yeah, I was surprised because I thought I know people like say, you know, older than you in their 30s and 40s like myself, they'd appreciate it. But I thought that some of the younger people like, black and white looks awkward. They hold the stance is funny. They look like they're doing the old, like the gentleman Will Corbett style. Yeah, that's rubbish. Jack Johnson. I said, look at that. They look like they're brawling. So now there's certain nuances that you wouldn't see as a normal person. Yeah, but I know them, once they see that kind of imagery, they said, no, I'm not interested. And the way we are now, we train, we eat better, we train better, we're faster, we're bigger, we're stronger. And so they're thinking, yeah, they wouldn't ever be world champions today and things like that. So that's where you get a lot of the youngsters said, no, I'm not interested in all that. So, but you've seemed to manage to get them interested in it anyway.
Yeah, I do. I always get a lot of resistance with it, you know, and it is true. We have got modern sciences and we have got modern diets and people look after themselves more. But we've lost a lot of the old techniques because I watch it and you know, being in the gym, like I'm not saying I'm anywhere near as good as the fighters I do stuff on, but I will do what they're doing, and I will show videos of me doing it, showing that it
Yeah, I've
works.
seen it.
Yeah. So I'm like, someone will tell me it doesn't work, and I'll be like, I'm literally showing you it does work. So you know, I just think there's a lot you can learn from these fighters, and you know, I love it all. I watch boxing of all eras. I watched the day, and that's what got me into it, and the old school fighters, and you know, ultimately, I get a kick out of just you know doing the videos and to be honest with you, when I first started, my knowledge was nowhere near as good as it is now, and it continues to improve because I'm learning as I'm going, and people put in the comments stuff that I pick up on. So I wouldn't say I'm educating people as such, which you know it is, but I'm educating myself as well, you know.
Yeah, but it's a constant thing. It's a constant development. It's constant development. I've seen it. Even when people look at like you said with Floyd Mayweather, I've seen him when he's youngster, and I see how he adapted his style as he slowed down and he started to get the fragile hands.
Yeah.
And people said, "What are you talking about?" Saying, "No, he's modified his fighting style and his punch output's dropped." But said because of that, he got better defensively. It took less punishment. But they're like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" I said, "Yeah, you wouldn't be able to understand because you're just looking at, oh, wham, bam, he's out." Or like, oh, he's fast, he's strong. I said, yeah, there's a when they say the sweet science, I said it's almost artistic. Like pivoting in the pocket, swing like things that you wouldn't think because you're in temper and you're just swinging for the hills. So that's why I said it's very rare that you see someone that hasn't had the schooling be able to, you know, even if you're a good street fighter and you're physically powerful, to be able to be up a pro boxer. So there's a reason why they license their hands as lethal weapons. It said you get in serious trouble if you fight on the street and getting things like that. And there's a lot of people that don't know that they're just casual fans, you see.
Yeah, and it's really I can't stress it enough because it comes naturally to me now, but it's really difficult to do this as well as professional boxers do it. Like it was having done this for over 13 years now, I've noticed the development in my style and just you know I remember when I was coming through and I'd look at all the pros and they'd be older than me and they'd beat me up, but now I'm comfortable with it and I can do it. So, you know, you still get caught, you still have mistakes, but like you see the development with it. And you know, I used to look at Mayweather and be like, when I was young, I'd be like, oh, he's adapted because his hands, and now like I broke my hands twice, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know why. I can see why fighters do that now. And you know,
How do you do them? If you don't mind me, how do you break your hands? What, from heavy bag or for actual fights?
fights, yeah, I broke my hand against Lewis Isaacs, which was that was a really hard fight. I just I just come out. My hand was all swollen, and I fractured my metacarpal, and I broke my hand in February this year. I just hit someone in sparring, and again I'd done the ligaments, and I chipped the bone, and my hand was like that for about three months. Even training for my return fight, I take my glove off, and my hand would be like that because my knuckle, the bone had got stuck in the joint that allows it to do that. So it was like that. And then I hit someone with it, and it just, I think the bone just moved out of place, and it was fine again. So it's man,
I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, it's a crazy sport, man. Like you know, I got my black eye now, but I've fought with broken hands. I've fought coming off a broken nose. Like my ankles always give way when I'm running and stuff. You know, it's a that's why I got so much respect for guys like Greb and Langford, or just anyone like Mayweather or anyone that goes and Hopkins, that longevity.
Yeah, I know. I always
yeah,
wondered that, man.
crazy.
He came into it late.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. And someone like RT Moore, for instance, who was beating up the good guys at 24 and then still doing it at 49. I find it so fascinating.
They've obviously got a burning fire inside because I noticed that fire, it burns deep and it doesn't really ever go out even when they get old.
Yeah,
They actually love it. That's what you can see. The people that actually love it. The contest, the competition, and being in the mixer. You see, some
yeah.
people they just love all that. Where some people, like you said, they just think, oh, it's a good career. I've got the natural physical attributes, so I should be able to be good at it. But they don't really have it in their heart.
No,
Mm.
it's a sport that you have to have something deep within because it's too hard. And you know, I've done lots of sports, but like this, it's so difficult. You have to put yourself through so much just on a basic level of preparing for fights and mentally.
Mm.
Every fight you get into, you have regret and dread, and it's just a horrible feeling. And that's just the simple stuff. Like it's also one of the most ruthless businesses as well. Obviously there are rewards there if you can clock it. You can make a hell of a lot of money. You can inspire millions of people. You can, you know, you can achieve. You can be the best man in the world in the boxing scene. But it's to get there. It takes so much. Now, anyone that gets to that top level has to have a fire that burns within because it's ridiculously hard on your body and your mind.
Mm. Yeah, it's thing. Well, let's just hope Anthony can win it back then when he faces Usyk. Because I see a lot of people they question him and said, "Oh, look, where's the steal? He's lost it." Because you see like Chisora and Dillian White, they question him thing, and I said, "Well, it's true. I've seen people like Carl Frock now, who I think has the fire with him.
Was that
He
Froch? Yeah.
yeah, yeah, he's serious. There's
He's
very few people when I mean the mental toughness and kind of for the adversity, but he actually enjoys it. It's like I've read what was that fight, the American one that
Taylor,
he knocked him down
Jermaine Taylor.
early, and Frock I think it's the last round he knocked him out.
Yeah,
And I
Jermaine
remember his
Taylor.
interview afterwards. He said the difference is he said I don't have stamina issues, and I love it. He hit me in the face. I loved it. I don't
Yeah.
really hear people talk like that. So even though you say that they must have some form of fire, I think some have just a bit more mentally
Yeah.
and the enjoyment of it. The gladiator contest, some people like really, really delight in it more than others.
And it's different personalities as well that you might say. I mean, Froch was like a hard man anyway. Do you know what I mean? But he proved that in the ring. But someone like Eubank as well was the same. Like he had, you just got that. You got that dog in you. You just don't. It's just like, and I understand that having experienced it, like what these guys feeling, but you can't. Anyone that's had an amateur 3-round fight and they've gone through it, you know how hard it is to go through those 12 and 15-round fights with that. It's just it's a different level. And in regards to Fury, I don't think, I think he might have slowed down, but Usyk's brilliant. But to get through that 12-round fight and the stick he got through, and it was a close fight as well, I think he definitely has something left in him.
Yeah, Fury does. Jesus, yeah, Fury does. But
Yeah.
he ain't the same. He's mental framework is different. I think with that
Oh,
bipolar stuff, things that register and upset other people, he's just like, oh, that's a joke.
yeah.
Like when he says he drinks beers, and they said
Yeah.
he beat up like 4 world champions in sparring after being out on the lash.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true, but for him to come out and say he's a flamboyant nature, so how most people process and think is he's totally different. He's not like a mold at all.
Yeah, he's definitely different. I mean, it's again, it's good and bad because I remember when he beat Klitschko, like he looked so relaxed and he went out and just done him, and I think he beat him mentally really more than physically.
Yeah,
But
of course.
yeah, but then you look at how he switched off against Ngannou, and I think that cost him in the Usyk fight with because I think Usyk won by a round or two. And I think
Yeah, so
Fury
do I.
threw away a round or two as well, just putting his hands on the ropes and doing all that. So
Yeah. I think he did as well. Yeah.
I think it cost him. Usyk still might have won. He was brilliant, but it's there's a fine line between that where it can be brilliant and then it can actually cost you.
I think if Usyk didn't wobble him, I think Tyson would have won that on points. Yeah.
He was coming. He was on top, man. I remember watching that because I always thought Fury would win. I thought Usyk was brilliant.
Yeah,
But the
so
way
did I.
did you? Yeah. Oh man, the way he was going in the middle rounds.
You look terrific.
Yeah, he started taking over, and then Usyk just found this another level that and I think that moment there is what cemented Usyk as an all-time great on what he's already done, because he just found another level against the biggest, best heavyweight in the world. And that was against proper adversity
And
there.
his,
So
his tactics as well. I was stunned by that he actually walked him down, pressure. I was
yeah,
shocked. Cut off the ring. I said, but you're this. I suppose he's the shorter man, but I said, how you gonna do it? A man that weighs what 2 stone heavier than you, and what
crazy.
about what 4 or 5 inches taller, longer reach? I said,
Yeah,
gee, he's different. Yeah, he's an expert, but I suppose Ukraine. So yeah, the
yeah. Well, it's
Ukrainians
that
seem to
fire,
produce
that
some
fire
serious.
within, man. No,
Yeah,
no,
but the
the
skill
fire
as well,
within.
because usually what I've seen when they're skilled, they don't. There's for me, they're not usually as combative or tough. But then when you get the ones like Mayweather and Usyk that combine both, it's
Mm.
like Superman stuff.
Yeah, Usyk, and Lomachenko in recent years too against adversity. I think against Linares as well. Like you really, and the thing I like about the two top dogs from Ukraine recently with them two is that they go up in weight and they push themselves and they take those hard fights. And in regards to Loma, he hasn't always won, but he's always pushed himself. And same with Usyk, and their skills are just unbelievable. But that those two in particular, just using the Ukrainian influence of really really special fighters.
It's true. It's true. Because I remember Usyk from the WBC series before he's popular, and
Mm.
one of my mates is a professional gambler. He said, "Sean, put £1,000 in this man, 2 to 1." I said, "Nah, I'm not doing this." And listen, take out your eyes to do that. So who's this?
Mm.
No, no. We went down, fun enough, in Wimbledon, Broadway, we're in the town centre. We went, me and my friend Fitz, we went to watch. And instantly I said, "Right, this man could go to the top, you know." They said, nah,
Mm.
Sean, he's thing, he cruise away. I think Gaskiev would beat him. I said, nah. I said, I'm telling you, he's going to go to the top. I think I saw a snippet of him when he beat up Joe Joyce. I thought,
Yeah, yeah.
goodness. Yeah, it
And he
was.
beat Joe Joyce up as well.
Yeah, yeah. I said, listen, nah, this man's the truth. So I started to bet on him anytime he came up in fight before he became popular, where the odds were good. And I couldn't believe how much people, even like critics, are like, no, he's gonna win. He's the Usyk is, pumped up and he's never been hit by a genuine heavyweight. And I said, no, I don't think so. The only fight I really see him struggling was Chisora, which I
Yeah,
find amazing because I
yeah,
thought Chisora was finished. He was shot.
yeah, man.
Like, the way he thinks.
Everyone's finished every time he fights.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he's crazy, man. Because I was a big Loma fan before Usyk turned pro, so I was aware of them and Vosdik as well. And there was the guy that beat Ricky Hatton, Senchenko. There were
Yeah,
quite a few Ukrainians around at that time, so I kept an eye on Usyk. And
yeah.
and Gassiev was sending people flying, and I remember I actually put a bet on Gassiev winning the whole thing because he was an outsider. But I remember when I thought Usyk would win, but there was good
Yeah.
odds on.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I've done that myself.
He schooled him. He schooled him. And then when Joshua beat Povetkin, I remember seeing, and no one knew Usyk then. Well, no one outside the boxing
Yeah.
world knew Usyk. But I remember talking to my friend and being like, seeing Usyk. He was sitting in the crowd like Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars with the hood up, staring at Joshua, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What?" I was like, "That geezer, he's a nightmare for Joshua." And my friend was like, "Nah, nah, nah. Who even is he?" And now he's taken over,
I
man.
know, but yeah. To be
Yeah,
fair, it's the skill. I think it's the skill, and he underestimated his durability because obviously they're
yeah,
thinking all that, lateral head movement, the pivoting, the
yeah.
parrying. I said, no. I said, I'm telling you. He said he is different mentally. Again, he's eccentric, like kind of, well, not as much as Fury, but I said he's eccentric and he's got a serious belief.
Mm,
So on top of the way he trains as well, and he's a serious athlete. I said, nah. I said you can never, you can't just because someone's built like an Adonai. I said that translates into fighting. I said you should know that from Ruiz and Tyson Fury
mm,
that doesn't mean that you should automatically win because you
yeah,
look aesthetically better. That is, but you'd be surprised how much people get. It's like even the other day, Frank Bruno was mocking Joshua about, oh, I don't know how he lost to Michelin man. I said, but he's a pro boxer for you. Surely, you know, said Mike Tyson showed you about that. I remember when I was young, when I was like a kid, when I was like 9, 10, when they went to fight. And I remember they showed, I've got the old videotape still, where they said, oh, we have a great prospect called Frank Bruno. Do you think he's a good fighter? And Tyson laughed and said, he's a great bodybuilder.
Yeah. Nearly got Tyson out early. Nearly got Tyson out though early, nearly. But then yeah, Tyson came back and mashed him up. But yeah, but like Ruiz, yeah, because that's another one as well. He, especially in recent years, because we talk about those old fighters and the better diets and that, but you look at some of the heavyweights of today. You know what I mean? Like they don't look like fighters. But I remember, because it was Miller, wasn't it? And then Miller took every steroid under the sun, and then he got pulled out, and then they put Ruiz in, and a couple of people I knew went to Madison Square Garden to watch it, and they're like, "I was stopping in 4." And I said to him, you know, I'm boxing nerd. I watch all the boxing, so I knew Ruiz, and I'd seen the Parker fight.
Yeah, so yeah.
He's
I told people it's touch and go. They said, what do you mean, Sean? I said, have you seen how fast his hands are? Listen, I said, by the time Joshua throws one, he's hitting with 3, 4 punches, and he's heavy-handed. He doesn't have pillow hands. But they're like, no, Sean, he's got no chance. And I think Joshua underestimated him. As much as he said he doesn't look past him, he was just cliches. He underestimated him.
But it's like you said earlier with Usyk, in regards to Usyk, he's very skillful, but it's the will. And Ruiz is a good example of that, because Ruiz had the will to win that. And then since he's lost it, whereas, you know, Usyk hasn't, he's still got the will. Goes to show, like, you know, Ruiz, he hasn't a very good sense, and he hasn't been disciplined, and you hear all the rumours about him not training. Once he's done it, he's lost the will. So, you know, going into that fight, he had it, and he was dangerous. So, you know,
he's cut the weight down now, though. I was shocked. He's cut quite a bit of weight off, and I was impressed with who is it that he beat recently? King Kong.
Yeah,
Ortiz. I was shocked because I thought Ortiz might win on points. He'll keep it a range in boxing, but he got dropped.
Ortiz is 85 years old though, man.
I know. He's like my age, so but he's still campaigning at elite level. I'd love to go in there. So listen, fair pay there against Joshua Fierce there. I'll take that, even if I get beaten up. You know what I mean?
On paper, he's that age. On paper, You're right though. You are right. I mean, Ortiz is a good fighter. He didn't look great against Miller. That's the only thing.
No, he didn't.
Miller's a handful. He's a handful. Hard style. Yeah,
he's a handful, to be fair. So who's your thing at the next generation, then, apart from yourself? Fun enough, you never send me none of your tickets. I've been funny for a long time now. You never sent me the tickets when you're fighting. Because I would have come out with some of my people and watched you, especially being a local, man.
Yeah, man, come on, boxing in 2 weeks. I'm boxing in Bethnal Green. Yeah, man.
Do you have like a website, or do you have like a link to the tickets where you can buy them?
You just shout me, man. I'm still doing all my tickets myself, so you just shout me. I mean,
okay. And I'll spread the word as well for you.
I appreciate that, one. Thank you, man. So obviously I am boxing in 2 weeks, but I would rate myself in regards to other prospects coming through. I mean, if you're looking in the smaller level, I say smaller, he's getting good promotion. But Giorgio Visoli, I think that's how you say his name. Yeah, he's Eddie Hearn's been promoting him. I think he's now 5-0 with 4 knockouts. He's southpaw. He's very, very good.
Yeah, I see the last fight. Yeah,
he's good. Yeah, good.
I see Eddie Hearn talking about it with was it Frank Warren when they had that Queensbury versus Matchroom.
Yeah,
I think he mentioned him briefly. Yeah, I haven't seen much of him though.
I see him, and he kept landing that left hand and knocking people out. And I saw him. I said to him, I was like, mate, what a shot! And he's like, I didn't even think that was going to land. And I said, and it's the same with the punch I threw in my last fight. Said, these pro gloves, they're small, man. So he's going to be good at the top level. I think if we're looking at the next stars, I think Moses Atuma will be good. I think that's a bit of an obvious one. I think Andy Cruz is going to be good. I think in the pros, the Cuban.
I don't know him.
Andy Cruz, he's the one that beat Keyshawn Davis, Cuban fighter. I think he's 5-0 now. Yeah, he's really good. Yeah. He was like one of the best amateurs of all time. Really, really good. I think he won a couple of Olympics. I'll send you some stuff on Instagram. He's good.
What about Cameron Merton? Is it Cameron Merton? The one down the Mayweather camp?
Yeah, the little tank. It's hard to say really. I mean, like the difference with amateur box. I mean, yeah, he will obviously be good because he's in a great stable and he's strong and he's explosive. I mean, the kid's still got braces. You know what I mean? He's still
Yeah, no. Jeez,
yeah,
cool boy.
he's a proper kid and he's bashing people up. So I think he will still be good. But out there, I think America's slightly different to the UK because they don't have those really tough seasoned journeymen that are going to give you rounds. So he's going to be blasting people away for a few years, and I think that they do their hard work in the gym. So he'll be sparring all the champs. So he'll be good. It's really hard to say how good he will be though because we you know Cruz for instance has a really good amateur background, so we know he's seasoned. But yeah, he'll be good. I think of the next stars that will take over, I think Janabek, Alan Kanuli or Kanali, I don't know how you say his name, the middleweight champion right now. I think if he can get the fights, he'll be pound for pound. Yeah, Kazakh middleweight right now. He's the champ. He's been the champ for a few years. It's just no one that's standing at a middleweight that he can make his name against. Janabek will be good. Probably Shakur as well. I do like Shakur. Yeah,
I think because of the he's got all the skills in that, but I don't think the way the way it is going now, where the people want to see the excitement and the knockouts, I think he'll end up being like Andre Ward, where they think, oh, very skillful, you know, top technician, good athlete, but he doesn't excite people enough. The fights are too methodical and not enough.
Andre Ward. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry. What were you saying?
I said yeah, with Keyshawn, because he's a top operator with the skills and the speed and the knowing the distance, but because there's not enough knockouts and he's kind of methodical the way he beats people, it doesn't take much risks. They'll be like, oh no, he's not exciting enough. It's kind of like what happened to Andre Ward.
Yeah. Andre Ward is pound for pound, but I get what because people look back. It's kind of like not Calzaghe to say because he's a different kind of example, but people look back at these names like Ward and Calzaghe and they're like, oh, what great fighters they were. But at the time, no one wanted anything to do with them. You know, I mean, I think the problem with those Americans right out there at lightweight, so they just don't box each other. I mean, Ryan, yeah. So if Shakur boxed Tank, I mean, Tank's what 30 years old now, and
I know.
You know, if he boxed Tank and Devin got in, and you know, Tiafoe,
I know, you make a free fall. That's why I thought why they don't enforce that thing that they done with George Groves that time and Andre Ward, where they kind of had that meetup where they had all the champions had to have a playoff fight each other to become the ultimate division champ. I don't know why they don't do that every weight class. Is it because of politics or the broadcasting?
Politics, yeah. I remember hearing Spence and Crawford talk about how they were being advised not to take the fight by Peter. I don't know whether it's Al Heyman or someone, but and you're like, man, you look back at you ain't even got to go back to the 20s and that or the 50s. You look back at the 80s when you know I know
Four
Leonard,
Kings,
the four Kings. I know Leonard did kind of swerve that Hagler fight for a while, but
he
still
did.
Brian Duran and Brian Hearns, Brian Benitez. Do you know what I mean? Like these guys were fighting each other, so it's a shame, really, isn't it?
Well, no, it's every generation they say that people swerve and they're ducking fighters. I remember they used to say that with Roy as well, with Eubank and Ben, with James Toney. When I was a teenager, I said yeah, but some of them say it was rubbish. Some of them say it's money. So you never know for real what's going on with all that, unless you're in the negotiations.
There was Darius Mikoszewski as well that was a good fighter in light heavyweight that Roy never fought. There was you get a few. I think Roy would have beat all of them, to be honest. But again, you can always say that he never went for it. If they don't, you'd rather just tick that box and just say, well, I beat everyone like a Hagler did, or you know.
Yeah, of course, Jesus, a monster Hagler. I still think he would clean out the division today at middleweight.
Without a doubt, man. Yeah, I'd like to have seen Hagler versus Golovkin on both at their best. I think it's definitely going a distance. But
the chins, I've never seen. It's almost inhuman. Apart from Oliver McCall, I've never seen someone so durable with taking shots from heavy punches. And they don't get stunned. They're built as different. They're built with different stuff. That must be their genetic thing, to be fair.
Yeah,
Yes,
Roy Jones.
but you said you might have come a cropper, even though you think Roy Jones had beaten me, would have been, you know, he might have been shocked.
Man, it's one of them, and it's just like fighting the best of the era. I love Roy. Roy was unbelievable, but there was, you know, there wasn't a lot of great fighters in that run. There was quite a few, you know, Hopkins and Virgil Hill and James Toney, but Darius Mikoszewski was definitely a miss. But every era has that. You have Bo and Lewis. You have Mayweather and Pacquiao. Didn't happen when it should have happened. You know, it's
You
there's
think Pacquiao would have beaten Mayweather? I don't think in any era of Mayweather's career, Pacquiao would have beaten him.
I don't necessarily think he would have beaten him, but I think it would have been a lot more intriguing had it happened 4 years earlier.
Yeah.
You know, because Pacquiao was a lot better and Mayweather was a lot better back earlier, which is why I would have wanted to see it. There's always something, you know, with Mayweather having those mini retirements and having time out, and Pacquiao getting sparked by Marquez and then the fight happening. I just thought, well, neither man is as good as they were at their peak. You know, it'd be like when Duran boxed Leonard for the third time. It's like, well, it's not the most accurate representation of that fight. You know, we saw them fight at the best and they beat each other. You know, the second one was what it was, but the first one, that was them at their best. And I would have liked to have seen Pacquiao when he was, because the thing with Pacquiao is, which is why I think he was so incredible, is that he went 10 divisions, which
I know, unheard of. Unheard of. I
just,
remember there was rumors about that because a lot of people said, how is he a man of his background able to do that without, you know, the old juice?
yeah.
So,
There's
same with Roy Jones. People used to tell me that, oh, there's rumors that he used to think. So,
man, I think Roy Jones actually got popped. And there's rumors about Manny, and there was rumors about Floyd with IV drips that weren't allowed. There was Shane Mosley got done, Canelo got done. You know what I mean? It's I get people that comment on my list and be like, "You can't put this fighter in; they failed a drugs test," or "You can't put this fighter in because there was rumors about steroids." And I'm like, man, if I do a list and I don't put people in that had rumors about steroids, there would be like 2 fighters on the list. Yeah. Boxing's played with it, and the thing with Pacquiao, right? And someone was, because I put something up about Pacquiao the other day. Someone said, "How can you, you know, say how good he was when it's stained by the rumors?" And I'm kind of like, yeah, but he was never.
No, he was a serious boxer though. Regardless of all that,
Yeah,
he's a serious boxer. He obviously you can't do skills. You see what I mean? That's the thing. Yeah,
it was freakish, but then like, you know, I look back and it's very freakish and it's borderline impossible what he did. But Sam Langford did it from lightweight to heavyweight, and Mickey Walker did it from welterweight to heavyweight, and George Carpentier did it from flyweight to heavyweight. So it has been done.
Yeah, it has been done. Yeah, even before they have all that, the science and that. Yeah, of course. To be
Yeah.
fair, I never thought Pacquiao was finished when he lost to Marquez. You know, I thought the reason why he got sparked because he's overreaching. That's what I
Yeah.
always thought. And I remember Roach was telling him, "Stop doing that. You're gonna get caught." But I said,
Yeah.
"What can I say to him? He's a world champion. He's the one in there." I think it's technical mistake why he got caught. Why he got caught with that punch. It wasn't because he was washed up.
No. He wasn't washed up, but he wasn't the same force. That he worked in spurts instead of working the whole fight like.
Yeah,
he did.
yeah. The engine was yeah. I had that punch output dropped. Yeah.
A knockout can take something out of you, but Pacquiao still proved he was a top fighter against Furman and Broner.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when he beat my man, he said he was old. Furman. When he beat Furman, I thought, what? He turned the tide on him. And he said, so I said, if that's him not beating his best, he's still beating that world champions.
He was amazing. I think you're right. I think Mayweather had a style that would have nullified him, but it's just like the analogy I used earlier. It would be like not seeing Duran and Leonard 1 and 2, and just seeing Duran and Leonard 3. You never know how those first fights would have gone in their peak. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think for the level of hype and I think they're both top sort of 10, 15 all-time greats. Like,
of course, definitely, no doubt.
To see that in their peak, that would have been something to see, I think.
When he beat, was it the one of the fight that my dad used to like, Barkley? The one that I think Ben knocked him out as well later on. Yeah. I couldn't believe that. People say he's finished, but I said the way he fought in that fight, it never looked like he's finished to me.
Yeah.
High work rate, high punch output, the serious lateral movement, the dipping, the level changes. Yeah, it was serious. The body work, I said, nah. I said, people say that, but I said, I'd have to look at them, their training, because you know, some people, they like now, they do the data when they
Yeah.
just say, how fast are you running? How much punches you're throwing per round to show you the stamina thing. So, I mean, to how quick you recover. So, I hear a lot of people said, oh, yeah, they finished and washed up. I said, look, that means Bernard Hopkins was born washed up then because he started way old. I said, and
Yeah.
look, and he's punching up people constantly, younger than
Mm.
him, all the time, at the high level, not at the club level, high level. So I said, yeah, and some people peak differently because for me, Lennox Lewis is at his peak at 33, where some people say, no, he was washed up. He can't get back down under 17 stone. He said, no. I said, he's thing. He said he's more rounded as a fighter, and he was
For
still
the
fit and
experience.
strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I said, yeah, and look, I said, look, Tyson is what? Is he? I think is he younger than Evander Holyfield?
Oh, I don't actually know.
Yeah. So I said, but look, I said, look, Evander Holyfield had a longer peak. That was it. You can't say because it's necessary age makes a person finish. Because a lot of people they just look at the number and said, oh yeah, he must be he's an old man. I said, how is that so then? So why did Mayweather beat up so many champions? He beat up Canelo when he's 24. There's then under no circumstances then he should be winning against Canelo at that age. I said, so how can you really judge that and say, oh, he's finished? Because I said he's beaten up physically, maybe not skills wise and experience wise, the best Canelo, but physically, I said physically he was better than Canelo. Better
Yeah,
legs, more
it's
punch output,
mm,
fresher. Now he's a bit methodical and he's a bit of a plodder with the
yeah.
footwork.
I mean, it's I have a lot of people say that like, oh, so and so was shot. How can you say Golovkin was past his best at 36? It's like, well, Hagler was 32 when he retired, and then people will be like, yeah, but look at Hopkins, he was still beating fighters at 45 and more,
Yeah,
and Wilfred Benitez was beating the best
yeah,
at 17,
yeah.
and then by 25 he was shot, and
So, yeah,
Hopkins
exactly.
even peaked by 20. Everyone's
Mm-hmm.
different. And I think with the Lennox and the Mayweather ones, I think they were very clever and they adapted their styles. I think Canelo was 22 when he boxed Floyd, and I think that was just a fight about levels in regards to experience.
Yeah,
Like Canelo, he had never been in with, he was never going to get in with someone as good as Floyd because Floyd was the best, but he was like a rabbit in the headlights, and
it
Floyd
was, it
just
was.
knew how to toy with him back then.
Yeah,
And if that fight happened any later, it probably would have been fair because
yeah,
Floyd was getting old, and
yeah,
it was before Canelo Pete's, and it was just as Floyd was coming to the end of
yeah,
his dominant reign.
yeah.
That's boxing. As the body gets older, the mind gets stronger. Um,
But what
but
I was so surprised by when I saw that fight, because people look quite a few people I knew put man and Canelo to beat him because of the champion is beating up. But I said no. So Mayweather he's fast and he looks like a better athlete.
he schooled him.
So I said, imagine he's that age and he's that much above him physically as well. It's not just the craft and
Mm,
the defensive tricks and the traps, but he said physically he was quicker than
mm,
Canelo as well. I said, and when he hit him, he backed up. I see a couple of times where Canelo kind of backed off him engaging and said,
mm.
yeah, Mayweather was supposed to have the light hands. So I said, if that was so, he would have just walked him down. Yeah, so sometimes when people make them judgments, said, yeah, you have to check because, like you said, people peak at different levels, different
I,
ages.
one of Floyd's, even when he lost the power, I wouldn't say he lost the power because you watch interviews, everyone says he still hits hard at
Yeah,
that age. And they're like, oh, he hit harder than I thought. But one of the things with Floyd is, I mean, he bullied Canelo in that fight. He had him against the ropes, and he wasn't throwing him around, but he bullied him.
yeah,
And Floyd, I'd done a video about him in the gym. He just wouldn't be dominated. He was a king of just control, and he would just mentally bully you. Do you know what I mean? He would just make you miss and then move.
yeah,
He would command the ring. There
yeah,
was a bit where Canelo was just sitting there on the ropes and sort of like feeling a bit sorry for himself. And
yeah.
Floyd just hit like a surgeon. So yeah, it was a brilliant performance.
Yeah, it was. For me, that's classic Mayweather. That's one of my favorite performances of him, funny enough. I think De La Hoya gave Mayweather more trouble than Canelo did. That's why when people say, oh, Canelo would destroy De La Hoya, I said, in his prime? I don't think so. So for
Yeah.
me, the fights that I saw, because I never saw the Augustus one live when Mayweather fought him and said that's his most difficult opponent. You know, the drunken master fighter. I
Yeah.
said, for me, Oscar De La Hoya gave him his closest fight out of everyone I've seen. I said I actually had that at the time when I first watched it. I had De La Hoya winning by 2 rounds.
Yeah,
So
De La Hoya was one of the greatest fighters of all time. Because of his antics, people forget that and they just rinse him. But I think he was a 6th division world champion. Like De La Hoya was unbelievable, and I've always had Floyd winning that fight but I think De La Hoya, you can give him I think I've given him 5 rounds, and if you give someone 5 rounds and you want to give him the 6th and a close one, then Mayweather hasn't won that fight on your
of course. Remember, that's only live when I watched it. When I watched it back, I said, yeah, for real, Mayweather did win it. Because I watched it twice more afterwards. It's only when I was young, and at the time it was live, and I thought, what? Mayweather's De La Hoya's been robbed. But when I watched it back, Mayweather definitely won that. But
you see the subtle things like him riding the shots and the shots on land. The one I thought was actually closest was Maidana. I thought
the one when he got stunned, when he knocked out his tooth.
No, that was no. Maybe that was the second one. Mayweather won that one, although Maidana did land. That first one, I think I've watched that fight and scored it a draw. And if you score a fight like that a draw, you give it to the champion. You just, you know what I mean? Well, unless you're actually scoring it and you do.
Cool. I think so as well. If it's a draw, you got to think obviously he's not going to lose the belt because it's a draw. So I would give it to him anyway.
But Maidana, and you got to think as well, Floyd is getting on then as well. And but Maidana just had this style that really gave him problems, and it was looping over the top. But again, Mayweather adapted in that. And if you were going to pick a winner in the Castillo fight, the Maidana fight, and the De La Hoya fight, I'd probably go with Mayweather.
Mayweather, of course, definitely. For me, from years ago, I remember when I was about 23, I thought, you know what, he's the best defensive fighter ever. And people say, what are you talking about? This is before he fought Hatton and all that. It's only like 4 years later when he fought Hatton, people said, because people still, but not much people like from here, but even my circle, my brother, my cousins, they put money that night on Hatton to win. When because he kept laughing and said, oh, look at this. I can punch like that for a month. Look his hands, or did he punches? I said, what is he talking about? He's delusional. There's no way that beats Mayweather. They said, yeah, look at that. Fragile hands, he's soft, about pretty boy Floyd. And no. I said, no way, Hatton beat. I couldn't believe how much people still put money in Hatton to. I don't know if it's because the British thing, but I said, no, you've lost your money there. The same thing when I put money on Bivol to beat Canelo. They said, what are you talking about? I said, have you seen Bivol? I said, I suggest you watch outside of YouTube highlights. I said, come on, look at that Bivol. Can't bully him. Superior hands. Faster feet. He's not going to stand there in front of him.
Bigger as well.
I said, come on. But because he beat another bigger fighters, I said, it don't matter. He smashed. What was that British fighter when he knocked him out with a chest punch? And he went.
It wasn't Broadhurst, was it? Or he knocked out Broadhurst.
I forget his name now. He was only like a transitional champion. He wasn't a heavy thing like that. And then he beat Kolarov as well. Sparked him. I said, Kolarov is finished. He's finished.
Oh, you're on about Canelo. Yeah.
So I said, you can't think that. You cannot look at that. They were saying, Bivol is not from that category. He may not have the resume like them or be known like them in terms of name and publicity, but I said, you just don't go in there. I made some good money on that one.
I think the thing was as well, Bivol was primed, whereas Kovalev was old. Kovalev had nearly just been done by Anthony Yard. So I think, and Bivol hadn't looked great against Craig Richards, which is again, I think why Canelo took that risk.
Because of course he did. Yeah, he's picking and choosing.
Yeah, because he didn't want Beterbiev.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was saying the other day. To make him fight. Yeah, come on. If he's going to really risk it, said he's doing something unbelievable that no one's done, he's the face of boxing. Fight Beterbiev. Yeah, I said, fight him.
It was still a hard fight to take, Bivol would had a few fights, everyone's saying, guys, he is good as everyone thought, and then he come and beat Canelo, then Zerdo, and now he's going to fight Beterbiev. So Bivol was definitely a risk, but he hadn't looked great against Craig Richards when Canelo took that fight. And Craig Richards is definitely a good fighter, but definitely isn't on that world level that those guys are on. So, yeah. Sometimes
I wonder if it's just cat and mouse, because look, people watch Usyk against Chisora, they think, listen, few Joshua, Wilder would tear off his head. But
styles make fights,
and not every day you wake up the same. I'm sure certain times you can run like Rocky, and other time, like you said, my ankle's giving way, or I don't feel. I'm going through the motions. I'm trying my best, but I don't. There's something missing today. You don't get up the same every day.
And the bigger fights get you up more than the ones that you're expecting.
Exactly. So I always find that when people said, "Oh, you struggle," I said, "Yeah, but." You can have a bad day at the office. We're not robots. We're not going to go and say, yes, linear progression all the way to the top of the mountain. peaks and troughs. They said even in the ocean, there's always waves, even in calm waters.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
said, come on there, but
It makes boxing a fascinating sport. It
yeah,
makes
it
those
does, it does.
ones even better.
It's like when Lyndon Arthur when he beat Yard, and I put money again. I made it was 2-1, and I put what? I put £40 on it. And the people said, "You lost your money. That's stupid. You're a fool, Sean." I said, "Listen, Yard has had the problems with his family. He's been inactive, and I said that Lyndon's been fighting all the time. He's got a supreme jab. I said if he keeps his
One in the
discipline, box
fight.
at range, yeah. Even though I battered him the second time, they said, yeah. I said I don't see him beating Lyndon in that shape and with where his mind's at and the trauma he's been through. I don't see him, and people were shocked again.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into these fights, man. You know, it's a lot of it's psychological, and if your prep ain't good and you're coming in against someone that's up for it, again, it's happened so many times.
How do you guard against that then? The complacency.
You just have to stay disciplined. You have to stay discipline is the key. Stick to your routine. You know, when I boxed Isaacs, I was like a robot. I went to such dark places in training that I actually said to myself, I'd never want to come here. I never want to go here again. Because I was so miserable. I was so full of dread. I did 100 rounds of sparring, hard sparring with like Harlem Eubank and Josh Kelly and Mick Conlon in the gym over like 5 weeks. But I went in the ring and I was as prepared as I'd ever been. I was, you know, completely in shape. And then I went out and boxed someone in my next fight who had lost like 12 out of 8. And I had a few things going on my medical and I did 6 rounds of sparring. But, you know, but what I had done there, although the situation was different and I didn't spar for different reasons out of my control, I still kept that routine. I still stayed disciplined. The motivation wasn't there as intensely for that one as it was for Isaacs. But I just stayed with the routine. On the days I didn't want to do it, I did it. Even if I didn't do it, you know, with every ounce of energy I had, I still did it as well as I could. And then when you get into the ring, you know you've done it. You just got to stick to the routine. Because if you're missing sessions because you think, this one's going to be easy, that's when you'll become complacent. So just stick with the routine. Have a good team around you that if you start slacking, they're going to give you a fucking slap round the face. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah, boot up the ass. Yeah. I needed that when I was younger, man.
Man, I've had it. I've had it. As an amateur, I boxed. I took a little break from boxing after as an amateur as well because I sort of just was becoming complacent, and I was beating. I think I went on a streak where I boxed 5 future pro boxers in a row, and I beat 3 of them. I lost one that I thought I won, and then I went in against a kid called Lewis Richardson, who's just become an Olympic bronze medalist. Okay. And I thought I'd beat him, and I just didn't train, and he absolutely smashed me to pieces. And I was like, that was my lesson. Yeah, because I was humbled in that fight. I wasn't stopped, I wasn't dropped, I wasn't standing 8 count or anything. I got through it. You know, it was a good lesson to get through. But man, my face was a mess, and I was like, it made me realize that don't get complacent because this game you'll get beaten
health,
up.
man. It's your health. That's what I'm thinking. See, with me, obviously, I've never been to your level and that, but with me, I never liked embarrassment, and my health is a serious thing, especially when I used to be skinny and I had a flat top.
Yeah.
I didn't want all that. Yeah, I didn't want none of that. I said, even if you want, you got beat up. Look at your face. Yeah. I was feeling like that. So
you get used to it after a while, but no, it's just it's not the bruises. I mean, I got a bruise right now, but I bruise easy. I work on defense now. It's the internal damage you got to be careful of. So you know, it's and that's another thing as well. Like now, I'm a lot wiser. I'm a lot more experienced, and I know that if you don't give this game the respect it deserves, it will catch up with you later on. So I don't want to be the guy that goes in the gym and I've not been taking it seriously and I get beaten up in the gym, even though no one's watching. I know deep down I'm taking damage. If I'm in the gym, I'm working on stuff and I'm sharp and I'm making sure I take as little damage as I can.
I was always wondered, you see, when you said you done all that sparring for that Isaacs fight, isn't doing the hundreds round like that make you more with possible injury and more wearing on you, adding mass to the tank?
Yeah, well, to be honest with you, I was at a different gym then, and personally, I felt like I was doing too much sparring. It's one of the reasons I took the break. I was doing a lot of sparring,
Yeah, because that's like lots of fights in one, especially if it's hard. What you're saying, it's not light sparring. It's hard like that. You can
You need it.
too much
Yeah,
margin.
you
And
need it to a certain degree. Like it made me a much better fighter because I was sparring Josh Kelly, Harlem, Nick
yeah,
Conlon, Lewis Crocker, Abbas Barrow. These are all
yeah, of
European
course,
world
the
fighters,
best fighters, yeah.
and it made me a much better fighter. But yeah, I broke my hand a couple of times. I broke my nose, and it was like, nah, this is actually. I was getting to the point where it's starting to wane on me mentally
Yeah,
because
of
I was
course,
doing it
yeah,
so much.
yeah.
And
And
yeah, I
you got to
was.
peak for your fights, don't you? Because that's what I always thought. You'd have to peak for your actual prize fighting time, not in
Yeah,
the gym with people that's supposed to be helping you get better. I
yeah. Well,
always found that odd.
that's no, that is what I found, and I did it for a year or two.
Yeah,
But my gut was telling me that I was probably doing a bit too much sparring, a bit too
yeah,
much hard sparring, and now I've got a much better relationship with it.
yeah,
I probably don't spar for 8 months of 6 months of the year.
yeah,
Like in between fights, if I have a month off, I don't
yeah,
spar, and then first few weeks I don't spar. I
yeah,
spar for like 4 weeks for a fight now, and I spar hard when I spar, but it's also working on stuff. And then
yeah,
like after my last fight, I think I sparred about 30 rounds. That
yeah,
Isaac fight was crazy, the amount I was doing, but it was needed because it was I was going from 6 rounds to 10 rounds
yeah.
in a fight of the
Just
year.
to get used
So
to the conditioning and yeah,
yeah, it was a gut check, and now and you build your mental stamina doing that forever. But yeah, I wouldn't be doing that anymore.
yeah. Of course, jeez. Because I remember David, because what is it? You're training Adam Booth now.
No, I'm not. And I wasn't training with Adam Booth there. I was training with Adam Martin and
Oh,
Nick
okay.
Guilfoyle, who are both really good trainers. But I
Oh,
was in the boxing booth gym, so I was. Adam Martin was
yeah,
our stable was in the
yeah.
gym with Adam Booth stable.
Yeah, because I remember David Hayes saying that he had a phase when he was sparring hard because he always wanted to be ready, and he said he's picking up serious injuries. So no
Yeah,
wonder why you had that peak, and then obviously it was such a quick decline. It wasn't even gradual, quick.
yeah. Well, I think
Especially
I think a lot of hard sparring will it definitely takes its toll. So like I say now, I got out from that sort of habit from about 23 to 25, so a couple of good hard years. But
yeah,
I feel it benefited me, and if I did it forever for all my career, I was getting to the stage where I was like, how quickly can I get through my boxing career because this is just so grim.
yeah,
And yeah, I'm in a much better place with it now. I enjoy it more now. Whereas there, it was becoming like it was really tough mentally and physically. But as I say, it's not an easy sport, and those kind of experiences they toughen you up.
serious. It's a
Yeah,
serious thing. So in going forward, when's your next fight? So we
so
can tell everyone that I can encourage them and say, look, I've
yeah,
spoken, Then
yeah,
the thing he said to come and watch him, local boy, he's
yeah,
fighting. Because you've been on Sky and that, but I was surprised. I said, listen, this fight has been on Sky. You see his boxers, see his analysts, trainers, work coaches as well. And then people
yeah.
said, oh, what are you talking about? So yeah, you we'll have to do this more often and show people, showcase yourself more in terms of your
Yeah.
fights.
Getting out there, man. I'm boxing September the 28th. So I'm boxing in 2.5 weeks now. It's Wednesday now, and it's 2.5 weeks.
Exciting.
I got a 6 rounder coming up just to shake off a bit of ring rust from the time off. Yeah, so I'll be back out hopefully in title fight soon. It's at York Hall,
Yeah,
Bethnal
if you
Green.
send me the link when I get my wife to edit it, I can put the link on there when we're talking so people can see it while we're because it's recorded, so I can get it to put it in afterwards, post
Okay,
production. Yeah.
perfect.
So if you send me the link, have you sent it to me? If you send it to me on
To,
Instagram,
to
yeah,
be honest with you, if you're after tickets, just get on my Instagram and send me a message
Instagram.
because all the tickets are
Oh,
paper tickets. So yeah,
okay,
I'll get them sent to you.
okay, all right, yeah, that's fine. That's a serious thing. So, any closing words then? Because I'm not conscious of your time. Any closing words of advice for someone like me who wants to, do a thing for mental health?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, in regards to mental health, boxing is one of the best things to boost your mental health. For me personally, it was a huge confidence booster, massive. I can't even explain everything I've got in my life as an adult has come from boxing and the confidence it instilled in me to go and chase things and be confident enough to try things and brave enough to put myself out there. So go out there. You will. I've trained a lot of people now, just from complete scratch, and it's changed their outlook on life, and they've stood up for themselves in times they wouldn't. They've taken on stuff they wouldn't, and they've got a lot fitter as well. So I would definitely say if you have that itch to scratch and people are a little bit worried about going to a gym and trying it out, just go or just hit up the boxing coach down the road. Just make sure that they know their stuff, and just give it a go and just exercise, get yourself out of there, and just go for it, because you're learning something as well, and it's a life changer if you go and do it.
Where do you train when you coach?
I don't coach anymore.
Okay.
But I'm a bit too busy now. But I used to just train people out of Epsom. I used to go to schools.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to go into the Glen Beacon. I used to work for a few gyms. Yeah, but nah, I've got too much on. I have to coach. Yeah, man.
I thought you might be doing a Canelo, because I see Canelo. Who was he thing the other day? I saw him. He was giving them advice of how to counter. I forget who is he. I forget his name now. But there's a couple of fighters in his camp, and even Frank Sanchez, the Cuban one. He's
Yeah,
giving advice and that. So I see this, and then he had some kids as well that he's still coaching, even though he's fighting. So
man.
you might have to send some people to you when you're in camp between.
Right. You know what? Like all those little snippets, they're only little snippets, but they're gold. You can learn a lot from them. And there's a few little triple G tricks I learned just from like minute videos of him showing some other boxer something in the gym that was filmed. So those guys are teaching, but you can learn that stuff yourself just from watching those videos. So yeah, it's all good, man. There's a lot out there you can
So
learn.
make sure you watch Dan. Make sure you watch him when he's training to learn these tricks and he's fighting.
Yeah, just don't use them against me. Yeah.
Thanks very much for your time today, Mr. Wisdom.
Sure, it's a pleasure,
Thank
man.
you
Thanks
very
for
much.
having me on.
And
I
I'll let you
appreciate
know
it.
when I finish editing. It'll probably take me a while because I've just moved into a new place, a bigger place. So I've still got some stuff in the boxes and that. But
Thanks,
hopefully
man.
we'll
No
be in
rush.
touch and we can catch up. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
And
Thank you.
I'll be at your next. Well, wait a minute. Your next fight, the 28th is not. You got a 6 rounder before then, yeah?
No, 28th is the 6th rounder. Yeah.
All right, yeah. So yeah, I'll definitely come down to that. Support the
Thank
cause.
you.
Thanks for your
Thanks.
time
I
today.
appreciate it, man. No,
Have a
thank
good
you. It's a
day.
pleasure. Cheers, man.
Bye.
Come on. Now listen, I'm gonna make a move, but thank you very much, man. Thank you. Cheers, man.